All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, God, unto me. This hymn refrain, written by a Methodist minister 100 years ago, has not stopped playing continuously in my head during a recent period of adversities my family faced, which required God's faithfulness. In the spring, I was knocked down by 3 dogs in a local park. I twisted my knee, sprained my ankle, pulled tendons and ligaments, and broke my foot in 3 places. I had barely been placed in an orthopedic boot when I got word my baby sister, whom I had raised since her birth, had had a massive brain hemorrhage. None of you have ever met Cindy, but she has attended our church for the past 4 years, online, from Ohio, along with her husband and a number of neighbors who gather on Sundays to view it together. I asked the women's prayer group to intervene on her behalf. I flew to Ohio and stood by her side when she was in a coma in critical care. The 3rd day, the lead doctor of her medical team became so excited that he called her husband and I over to show us her latest MRI. "Look here," he said. "Her brain is beginning to drain the blood on its own. Only 10% ever survived this far. She should have a full recovery." And then, with tears in his eyes, he added softly, This is truly a miracle." Indeed, in the next 2 months through rehabilitation, Cindy learned again to swallow, eat, talk, and walk. Now, she could not return to her job of driving a school bus for special needs kids, but I could not stop singing in my head, "All I have needed, thy hand hath provided." When I returned home, I finally made time to consult an ophthalmologist because I was finding it difficult to read. I was alarmed when he proclaimed that I had gone blind in my left eye and that I was seeing only an orange haze out of my right eye. You know, like the day the Canadian wildfires came over us. But then he added how lucky I was because only weeks before he had purchased a machine which could laser the growths off my eyes. I called upon the prayer group again, who went into overtime. After I had the procedure, I gained 20/20 vision in each eye. I felt so overjoyed, like I'd been to the pool at Siloam, where Jesus healed the blind man from birth. So I kept singing in my head, "All I have needed, thy hand hath provided." Next, I sought to investigate why my foot was not healing. Sadly, I was diagnosed with chronic, progressive, incurable leukemia, a disease which prevents the production of healthy blood and bone cells. "So how long do I have to live?" I asked the doctor. 5 to 20 years. "Oh, good," I said cheerfully. "I'll take the 20-year option." But I guess God will keep me along for just about as long as he needs me. I again appealed to the prayer group, who is now in double overtime. Frustrated, I thought, well, if I can't walk, at least I can crawl. So I got down on my knees and I planted the succulent garden at the church parking lot entrance. The inspiration I received was from Revelations 22:13. "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end." And now when you enter the church, you can also be reminded of the Bible verse from Lamentations 3:22 that inspired this great hymn. "Great is your faithfulness." You can see the Alpha in the middle and the Omega around the outside. And I guess the Lord wanted me on my knees because I was soon to be reminded of the saying of Helen Keller, "I cried because I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet." On Memorial Day, my son was riding to a neighborhood barbecue on his electronic scooter when the brakes failed. As he was catapulted over the handlebars, the scooter somersaulted too, and as it landed, like a guillotine, it chopped off his foot. Now the women's prayer group and so many others are in triple overtime. But miraculously, a surgical team was able to reattach it by using a titanium plate and screws to connect the shattered tibia with the foot. Because his career as a police officer is most likely over, I was surprised when he said to me, "Mom, I think divine intervention has occurred in my life recently. If I'd received the promotion I was due to deputy chief before the accident, I would have gotten only 15 sick days and then had to go on unemployment. Since I remain a captain, my union contract provides for unlimited sick time with full pay. Now I don't have to worry about supporting my family while I heal. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided." Now, because the hymn makes continual reference to the hand of God, I want to show you a slide of Michelangelo's portrayal of the hand of God, which he painted on the Sistine Chapel ceiling 500 years ago. Here, God sets Adam down, whom he made in his own image, down on earth, letting him go, and I imagine God reassuring him that he would still be faithful to Adam whenever he needed him. And the scenes that Michelangelo painted on the Sistine Chapel, which is the largest cathedral in the world, are more than remarkable because he was a sculptor and these were the first paintings he ever made. See, even God provided Michelangelo with the talent and the tools he needed to complete his artistic mission. Now I want to ask you to look at your own hand. Look at the lines in the palm. Look at your calluses. Turn it over and look at the veins and the wrinkles, the freckles, the scars. Psalm 139:14 says, "I will praise thee, for I am wonderfully and fearfully made." Is our hand not similar to the hand of God? And is that not similar to Jesus, who was human and once walked this earth? Jesus needs our hands now to carry on his work, using whatever skills we have to lend a hand to others, and moreover, to put one hand against the other and pray. In closing, I hope you noticed a pattern here in my family's story. Through prayer, and I thank all of you who prayed for us, we have been provided with what we needed, not necessarily what we wanted. But I can't impress upon you how profound this realization now is to me. Whatever you have right now is completely what you need. God will always provide all the elements we need to solve any problem we face. So great is his faithfulness.